Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? Before I start this video, I just want to let everyone know that this video is for educational purposes only. I'm not trying to instill fear into anyone. I'm just going to give you the entire story to the best of my ability with the information that's already out there on the internet. Please do your own research so you can form your own opinions, and please be nice to everyone everywhere, especially in the comments section below. And I know that we're all going through some very tough times right now, but negativity is not wanted nor is it needed. But positivity can actually change someone's life. In the course of almost 4 years that I've been on YouTube, I've managed to read most of the writings of those who have constructed, if you will, the strange reality of 2020 and after. It was almost as if they wanted to conduct a science experiment on humans, because infectious coughs, as we know them to be, know no borders, right? They know for sure it would have to be a global one in order for it to do anything, right? It seems as if they had worked out every single detail. They knew how far people should stand apart from each other, right? They knew that the best way to stop the common cough from spreading would be total isolation from whole human population, and so far as that was possible. Strange, right? Families could not do that, of course, but they figured that they could live in different rooms of the same house, or simply just stay 6 feet apart. And if they couldn't do that, put them on, right? It goes without saying, but they said it anyway, because this was the way that they detailed everything to be in their heads. That indoor and outdoor venues where people gathered had to be closed down. Those were the exact words, by the way, issued by the White House on March 16th, 2020. Don't believe me? Look it up. First it was China, then northern Italy, then here in the US. And the rest of the world just fell in line. Domino effect, if you will. But a handful of nations, including Sweden, which faced many months of criticism for allowing freedom of their citizens. How dare they? It's truly hard to imagine what the architects of this barbaric policy believed what would happen next. Is it as simple and ridiculous as believing that a respiratory cough would just disappear? Goodbye. Or that a magic potion would just show up just in time to save the entire population? Wave your wand, bippity boppity boo. Even though no one has ever successfully come up with something like that ever before in the history of mankind. Is that what they really truly believed? Yes. Maybe. Or maybe it was just all for fun, or otherwise advantageous to try out a grand or a global experiment on humans. Certainly it was profitable for many, even if it wrecked the social, cultural, economic, and political lives of billions of people. Even as I say these words, it's hard to believe they are not out of some dystopian fiction. And yet, this is exactly what happened. Almost immediately, the idea of human rights took a back seat. Put your seatbelt on. Obviously so. So did the idea of equal freedom. That was immediately on the chopping block. The human population was divided into categories. Why? It began with essential, non-essential. It was like drawn from military protocol that suddenly pertained to the entire whole of the civilization world. That was only the beginning, though, of stark divisions. The stigmatization of the icky began immediately, too. Were they icky because they were insufficiently compliant? Did they disobey those protocols? In 100 years of public health, we have not seen this level of scale of demarcation. No. Some of this was attempted during the 80s. Remember with the AIDS crisis? Remember that? Pushed by none other than Tony Baloney, but not this aggressively or comprehensively. No. In those days, you could feel the concern for basic rights and freedom slipping, and with it, the moral conscience of the public mind. From the beginning, it felt like martial law and the population was being divided. Icky versus not icky. Compliant versus non-compliant. Essential versus non-essential. Elective surgery versus emergency, needing medical services, and so on and so forth. And this expanded dramatically over the next coming months. When these came along, it was this versus not. When some states started opening, it became red versus blue, us versus them. And when the arm ticket came along, that's when the ultimate division hit, piling upon and swamping all the others, ticketed, unticketed. The mandates massively disrupted that labor force, remember? The public accommodations of the whole cities were shut off to the unticketed, so that non-compliant citizens could not go to restaurants. Shame on you. No bars, no libraries, no theaters, no other public places. Go home. How dare you? Shame on you. Even houses of worship went along, even though they didn't have to, breaking their congregations into two parts. They sure did. If for years you have asked the question, where does this end? We now have our answer. We do. It seems inevitable in retrospect. The answer? War. Yeah. We are looking at the untimely deaths of innocents. Probably this has just the beginning. Yeah. The lockdowns broke not only the old moral codes, the agreed upon limits to state power. It broke the human personality, the spirit of the whole world over. It gave rise to a bloodlust that was barely beneath the surface. But states went crazy, bullying and dividing their citizens. It happened nearly everywhere. But Israel was a leading case in point. The citizenry has never been more divided The state never more distracted from security concerns. The delicate peace was shattered in shocking ways on October 8th, 2023, in a ghastly attack that revealed the worst security failure in the vulnerable state in its history. The incident then encouraged and further unleashed the Apocalyptics, whole peoples determined to take the next step in dehumanization of the population and the use of appalling means of doing the unthinkable: extermination. A word now thrown around as if it is fine and normal to speak this way. This conflict has now reached further into the politics of every country and down to every civic association, communities of intellectuals, and personal friendship. We are reminded at last of how incredibly fragile civilization and the peace and freedom that gives rise to it really, truly is. We should worry that in the drama of the moment, the history recounted will be discarded from the human memory. The plans for cough eradication failed so badly that many of its perpetrators are desperate for a dramatic change of subject. Don't talk about that, look, shiny object. So that they can avoid responsibility. But yet again, this is the desire, and it might even be the plan. This simply cannot be allowed to happen. Those of us with memories of civilized life, including universal rights, freedoms, cannot stay silent or get emotionally drawn into the point that we are willing to forget what was done to us, the damage it inflicted on public culture, the moral conduct a civilized person expects. Every war is preceded by a period of demoralization. I don't matter. Demotivation. There's nothing I can do. And dehumanization. Those people are not worth saving. Okay? From there, it's a simple matter of flipping the switch. Apocalypticism builds nothing. It only destroys. It is the epitome of the philosophy of the Joker. No nation, no community can survive it. Few of us knew or fully understood the depth of depravity just beneath the thin veneer of civilization that had previously dominated the large expanse of our lives. It was the maniacal experiment, that's what you want to call it, in the cough control only a few years ago that triggered this bout of man's inhumanity to be a man, to be a woman, to be a human. There is a burning need to know how this came about and why. Take measures, now desperate ones, to put back into Pandora's box all that was and has been and will continue to be released. How many more are going to happen in our lifetime? I don't know. These apocalyptics. Strange. Did you ever think that we would be talking about things like this? No. Alright guys, I'm out of here. I will see you in the next one. You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping, and as always, fear less. Ciao.